Aloha, everyone, and welcome to today's full moon in Virgo show. So today I'm not going to talk too much about full moon in Virgo. We're not having as dynamic of a full moon transit as maybe some other months. We've had some other events this month, and we have some events coming up next month that are just a little bit more prominent. So what I'm going to do for this full moon in Virgo is kind of give you guys an introduction to being able to really follow the moons. You can definitely follow moons from month to month, but because the moon changes zodiac signs so rapidly, there are certain trends that you cannot see when you're looking on a month-to-month basis versus when you look on a 6-month to 6-month basis. When you take, say, the new moon in Virgo and then look at the full moon in Virgo, and you see what was going on 6 months ago and what's going on today, and see the related themes. Now we're tapping into a larger planetary pattern. So this is about helping you tune into the different patterns that we are subject to all the time: monthly moon cycle, 6-month zodiac / sun moon cycle, and then we have 7-year sun moon cycles, 12-year Jupiter cycles, 30-year Saturn cycles, etc., blah, blah, blah. So, okay, full moon in Virgo. So that means 6 months ago, we had a new moon in Virgo. The best thing for you to do is to write things down. Why write things down? We're talking about Virgo here, right? So Virgo is all about keeping track of the details, making sure all the little minutiae are done, right? So Gemini is a outward expression of Mercury. So that's that. Gemini brings the childlike in curiosity, innocence. They bring it to you. They put all their childlike, what is that? Tell me about this. They're pushing their mercurial behaviors outward so that they can bring the details in. Versus Virgo, they're already doing their best to be organized. They're trying to name and categorize and organize everything on the inside. And so that's why they always seem like they're just this introvert that's trying to put everything in the right place. Not that all of them are. This is just a contrast with Mercury's extroverted masculine sign being Gemini, the air sign, versus Mercury's feminine introverted expression being the earth sign Virgo. So Virgo, earth. Let me get the actual details down. I need to get the details down so that I can do what I need to do. Gemini, just, what are all these details? So in true Virgo spirit, I would suggest writing these things down. I personally cannot remember all the details of what happened 6 months ago. It was August. So the major thing that I remember happened, I don't want to talk about right now. So let's not worry about that. I have it written down. I wrote it down so that I don't have to think about it. So I don't have to remember unless I'm trying to integrate something. That's just me. So what we have is we have a planting and then a harvest. And so between the new moon and the full moon, it's very obvious. What are we trying to do? We plant the seed and we wait for the waxing energy to fulfill itself at the full moon. And then we have a decline in energy. Now, just because we have a full moon does not mean we have a harvest on that day. As a matter of fact, we tend to have all the werewolves come out, or at least that's kind of what the joke is, right? You have all the werewolves coming out on the full moon. Why is that? Well, what happens is the full moon is like a peach in that when it's fullest and most swollen, or the peach is most swollen with water, the peach is still rock hard, and you don't want to be eating that fruit yet. It's during the waning gibbous that the peach actually shrinks a little bit, becomes soft, the sugars mature, and then it actually reaches peak ripeness, at which time I would pluck it and eat it right off the tree. So there's this building and anticipatory energy for the ripeness that will be achieved after the height of the full moon has been attained. You'll have to get to the apex, and then it's in that little falling state that fruition actually occurs. And I can see why that is, right? At the apex, you're high, and like you're literally high on the adventure. You don't really have a good idea of what's happening, and the moment you fall out of that high, you have left the pattern set. And it isn't until you leave the pattern set that you recognize the set for what it was. So this is an invitation to start doing some bi-weekly self-check-ins that coincide with the moon. And your bi-weekly check-ins, they don't need to relate to each other. What's important is matching the zodiac's signs with their new and full moons. So full moon in Virgo, I could say, oh, I see that I am putting out these videos, and 6 months ago I wasn't putting out any videos, and 6 months ago I had planted the seed of producing content to share with people. Now, is that a Virgo theme? Well, yeah, putting out content. Content is tangible. Obviously, a video content isn't tangible like a piece of paper, but you can have this video in a sense. You can make a copy of it, and you can download it, and you can have it, and you can look at it as many times as you want. That's a very Virgo goal. So here we are. And then in 2 weeks, we will have the new moon in Pisces, and we'll talk about that. And we can talk about what seeds you want to plant. And then 6 months from then, we'll review this again. So in the beginning, you'll have to bear with yourself, because especially when you do a full moon like this and you've never kept any notes, you might be really straining your brain to recall what you were doing 6 months. But once you get through the first 6 months, you'll have a nice little foundation, and then you'll be able to see your peaks and valleys, and you'll be able to see how your goals have changed over a longer amount of time compared to month. Now you're doing 6 month to 6 month. And then of course, the longer you go, I personally like to see how those zodiac themes change over the course of years. But that does have to do with the fact that over the course of years, I become more versed in what each zodiac archetype means. And so I can bring my attention to those areas more greatly than other areas. Like if I were to say, well, we're talking about Virgo, right? If I were to say in Virgo that I planted a seed to have a party, and then 6 months later, I didn't have the party, it doesn't matter that it's Virgo. All that matters is that you're learning. What matters is that you're just using the zodiacs to help you match when things actually line up. You don't even need to learn what the zodiacs mean. You just need to know that those things in the sky are lining up and they have a relationship to each other because they're lining up. And I have a unique relationship to them. That's what's important. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and we'll talk soon.